Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that rewards loudness. Social media shouts at us. Advertisements demand our attention. And somehow, we've been led to believe that to be noticed, we must be the loudest, the boldest, the most seen. But true attraction, real, undeniable magnetism, isn't found in noise. It's found in presence. It's found in habits that speak for us without ever needing a single word. Today, I want to share 11 habits that make a person silently attractive. These are the habits of people who walk into a room and, without saying much, leave an unforgettable impact. In a world filled with constant chatter, distractions, and a never-ending race for attention, it's easy to believe that being loud is the only way to be noticed. We see it everywhere, on social media, in workplaces, and even in social settings. People are trying to outshine, out-talk, and outdo each other, thinking that attraction comes from volume. But the truth is, true magnetism isn't found in noise, it's found in presence. Think about the most captivating people you've met. Were they the ones who dominated every conversation, who spoke the loudest, who interrupted to make their point? Probably not. Instead, they were the ones who made you feel heard. The ones whose energy commanded attention without demanding it. They didn't need to be the loudest in the room because their presence did the work for them. Presence is about being fully engaged in the moment, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's about making people feel like they are the only ones who matter when you are with them. When someone is present, they listen intently, not just waiting for their turn to speak. They observe, they understand, and they respond in a way that makes the other person feel valued. This quality is rare, and because it is rare, it is attractive. And in contrast, noise is everywhere. People constantly seek validation through attention, talking over others, oversharing, and trying to prove their worth through words rather than actions. But noise is fleeting. It may capture attention for a moment, but it doesn't leave a lasting impression. It doesn't make people remember you. Presence, on the other hand, lingers. Consider a moment when you were in deep conversation with someone who was completely engaged. Their eyes weren't darting to their phone. They weren't distracted by their surroundings. They weren't just hearing you. They were listening. That moment made you feel important, seen, and valued. Now compare that to a conversation with someone who's constantly checking their notifications, cutting you off, or waiting impatiently to speak. The difference is striking, and it's a clear example of how presence is far more powerful than noise. Presence is also about self-assurance. People who are truly comfortable with themselves don't need to shout for attention. They know their worth, and that quiet confidence is deeply attractive. They don't seek approval through excessive talking or trying to impress others. Instead, their energy draws people in. When someone is at peace with themselves, others naturally want to be around them. This doesn't mean that being expressive or outgoing is a bad thing. Some people have naturally high-energy personalities, and that's wonderful. But even the most energetic and social people can benefit from mastering presence. It's not about speaking less. It's about being more intentional with your words and actions. It's about knowing when to listen, when to speak, and when to simply be. People who cultivate presence create a sense of mystery. They don't reveal everything all at once. They don't rush to fill every silence. Instead, they allow space for curiosity. That space is powerful because it makes people lean in, wanting to know more. In the end, presence is a skill, a habit, and a choice. It requires mindfulness, self-awareness, and a willingness to truly connect with others. In a world that rewards noise, those who master presence stand out, not because they demand attention, but because they naturally draw it in. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many believe it's about being the loudest in the room, the most outspoken, or the one who constantly asserts their opinions. But true confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It exists in a quiet, unshakable form that doesn't demand validation. On the other hand, insecurity is loud. It seeks reassurance, over-explains, and often tries too hard to prove its worth. The difference between the two is clear. Confidence whispers, while insecurity screams. A confident person doesn't feel the need to prove themselves to everyone they meet. They walk into a room knowing their value, whether others acknowledge it or not. They don't have to dominate conversations or seek constant approval because they are secure in who they are. Their actions speak louder than their words, and their presence is enough to command attention. In contrast, insecurity craves validation. It often shows up as the person who speaks over others, brags excessively, or constantly seeks reassurance. An insecure person may overcompensate, trying to appear more successful, more knowledgeable, or more likable than they actually feel inside. They might interrupt conversations to make their point heard, overshare personal achievements, or try to force admiration from others. These behaviors don't come from genuine self-assurance, but from a deep need to be seen as valuable. Confidence is subtle. It's found in the way someone carries themselves, their posture, their eye contact, the way they listen rather than just wait for their turn to speak. Confident people don't feel the need to argue every point or prove they're right. They understand that their worth isn't tied to winning debates or having the last word. They can admit when they're wrong because their ego isn't fragile. They are secure enough to acknowledge others' perspectives without feeling threatened. Insecurity, on the other hand, is driven by fear. Fear of being overlooked. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of rejection. This fear often manifests in ways that push people away rather than draw them in. Someone who constantly seeks attention, exaggerates their achievements, or puts others down to feel superior isn't truly confident. They're covering up insecurity with noise. There's a reason why people are drawn to those who carry quiet confidence. It creates a sense of trust and stability. Confident people don't need to prove themselves, which makes them more reliable, more respected, and ultimately more attractive. They create an environment where others feel comfortable knowing they won't be judged or manipulated. Insecurity, however, creates tension. When someone is constantly seeking approval, it can be draining. It places pressure on others to reassure them, to validate them, to boost their self-esteem. Over time, this neediness can push people away. This doesn't mean confident people never feel insecure. Everyone experiences self-doubt at times. The difference is in how they handle it. A confident person acknowledges their insecurities, but doesn't let them control their behavior. They work on their weaknesses without broadcasting them. They understand that they are a work in progress, but they don't let that diminish their self-worth. Ultimately, confidence is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about knowing when to speak and when to listen. It's about standing firm without needing to shout. It's about being secure in who you are, regardless of whether others recognize it. True confidence is quiet, steady, and powerful. It doesn't need to scream because it knows it will be heard. Kindness is one of the most underrated yet powerful traits a person can possess. In a world that often values status, wealth, and physical appearance as measures of attractiveness, we sometimes overlook the quiet force that draws people in: kindness. True kindness isn't about grand gestures or seeking recognition. It's about the small, consistent acts that make people feel valued, seen, and understood. It's a quality that lingers long after a conversation ends, leaving a lasting impression that no amount of charm or good looks can replace. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate kindness. It creates a sense of warmth, safety, and connection. When someone is genuinely kind, they make others feel at ease. Their presence feels inviting rather than intimidating, and people enjoy being around them because they don't have to put up walls or pretend to be something they're not. Kindness fosters trust, and trust is one of the deepest forms of attraction. Unlike surface-level traits, kindness is not something that fades with time. Looks change, trends shift, and social status rises and falls, but kindness remains a constant force that continues to attract people on a deeper level. This is why some of the most respected and beloved individuals aren't necessarily the loudest or most successful, but rather those who treat others with sincerity and compassion. One of the most magnetic aspects of kindness is its ability to make people feel important. In a world where many feel overlooked or undervalued, a simple act of kindness, remembering someone's name, offering a genuine compliment, or taking a moment to listen, can have a profound effect. It makes people feel special, and when someone makes us feel special, we naturally want to be around them more. Kindness also has a way of revealing true character. Anyone can be charming when things are going well, but kindness is tested in moments of inconvenience, stress, or difficulty. A person who remains kind even when there's nothing to gain shows an inner strength that is both rare and attractive. Their ability to treat others with respect, regardless of the situation, speaks volumes about who they are. Furthermore, kindness creates a ripple effect. When someone experiences kindness, they are more likely to pass it on to others. This cycle of positive energy makes kind people even more attractive because they bring out the best in those around them. People don't just want to be near them, they want to be like them. However, it's important to distinguish between genuine kindness and performative kindness. True kindness expects nothing in return. It isn't done for recognition or social approval. People can sense when kindness is authentic versus when it is being used as a tool for personal gain. The most attractive individuals are those who are kind simply because they believe in treating others well, not because they want something in return. Kindness also strengthens relationships, whether romantic, professional, or personal. People who consistently show kindness build strong, lasting connections because they create an environment where others feel valued and respected. These connections stand the test of time because they are built on genuine care rather than superficial attraction. Ultimately, kindness is magnetic because it touches people at a fundamental level. It makes them feel safe, appreciated, and uplifted. In a world that can often be harsh and unforgiving, kindness stands out like a beacon. It requires no special talent, no wealth, no status, just the willingness to see and value others. And that, more than anything, is what makes it so undeniably attractive. Mystery has always been one of the most powerful forces of attraction. From literature to cinema, from relationships to personal charisma, what is unknown often captures more attention than what is fully revealed. Human nature is wired for curiosity. We are drawn to the things we don't entirely understand. This is why mystery fuels intrigue. It leaves space for imagination, for wonder, and for the desire to know more. Think about the people who leave a lasting impression. They aren't the ones who reveal everything about themselves at once. Instead, they share just enough to spark interest while keeping parts of themselves undisclosed. This doesn't mean being secretive or distant. Rather, it's about allowing others to discover you in layers. When everything is laid out immediately, there is little left to explore. But when there is an element of mystery, people lean in, wanting to uncover what lies beneath the surface. Mystery makes interactions more engaging because it creates a sense of pursuit. When something is easily available, it can lose value, but when there's something left to figure out, it keeps people invested. This is why great storytelling never gives away the entire plot in the first chapter. The slow unraveling keeps readers turning pages. In the same way, when a person doesn't reveal everything about themselves right away, it keeps others intrigued, wanting to learn more over time. One of the most attractive qualities of mystery is that it signals depth. It suggests that there is more beneath the surface, more experiences, more perspectives, more stories that aren't immediately obvious. This makes people subconsciously believe that the person they are engaging with has a rich, layered personality worth exploring. When someone shares too much too quickly, they may unintentionally remove that sense of depth, making the interaction feel predictable or even overwhelming. Mystery also requires confidence. A person who embraces mystery isn't afraid of silence, of unanswered questions, or of allowing things to unfold naturally. They don't feel the need to prove themselves with excessive words or constant validation. This quiet confidence is magnetic because it shows a level of self-assuredness that many aspire to. They aren't trying to force connections. Instead, they allow curiosity to do the work for them. In relationships, both romantic and platonic, mystery fosters excitement. When you know everything about someone too quickly, the sense of discovery fades. But when there is an element of the unknown, it keeps things interesting. This doesn't mean playing games or being intentionally distant. It simply means allowing relationships to develop naturally, giving space for curiosity to grow. A person who embraces mystery also tends to be a great listener. And instead of always steering conversations toward themselves, they create an air of intrigue by asking thoughtful questions and offering selective insights. This makes interactions more balanced and engaging. When someone isn't always the center of attention, yet remains present and engaged, they become more intriguing. Mystery isn't about deception or withholding important information. It's about the art of pacing. It's about knowing that attraction isn't built on a flood of information, but on a steady, natural discovery of who someone truly is. In a world where oversharing is common, those who hold back just enough to keep curiosity alive stand out. Ultimately, mystery fuels intrigue because it taps into the human desire for exploration. When there's something left to learn, to experience, or to understand, it keeps people interested. It makes them want to stay, to listen, and to discover more. And in that space of curiosity, true attraction is born. Discipline is one of the most underrated yet deeply respected qualities a person can have. Unlike traits that demand immediate attention, like charm, humor, or charisma, discipline works quietly in the background, shaping a person's actions, habits, and character over time. It doesn't seek validation, nor does it rely on external approval. But those who possess it earn silent admiration from others, because discipline reflects dedication, consistency, and self-respect. Humble, selfless, disciplines reflect. And when we see someone who is disciplined, whether in their work, personal growth, or physical health, we instinctively respect them. They don't need to announce their efforts because their results speak for themselves. A person who wakes up early to train, who puts in extra hours to master a craft, or who consistently pursues self-improvement, earns admiration not through words, but through quiet, steady action. Discipline signals reliability. In a world where many people seek quick fixes, instant gratification, and shortcuts, those who remain committed to a process stand out. They don't give up when things get hard. They push through, showing resilience and dedication. This quality is rare, and because of its rarity, it commands deep respect. People admire those who are consistent, who show up every day regardless of mood or motivation. Another reason discipline is silently admired is that it often involves sacrifice. A disciplined person makes tough choices, choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort, progress over procrastination, and purpose over distraction. This ability to delay gratification is a mark of strength. And those who witness it can't help but admire it. Even if they don't say it out loud, they notice the self-restraint, the patience, and the ability to stay focused in a world filled with distractions. What makes discipline truly magnetic is that it isn't about talent or luck, it's about effort. Anyone can be disciplined, but few choose to be. This makes disciplined individuals stand apart. They are admired not just for what they achieve, but for the dedication and work ethic behind their achievements. People may see the end result, a fit body, a successful career, a skilled musician, but deep down, they respect the years of unseen effort, the early mornings, the late nights, and the quiet persistence that made it possible. Discipline also builds self-respect, and self-respect is inherently attractive. When a person respects their own time, body, and commitments, others naturally respect them too. They carry themselves differently, not with arrogance, but with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing they put in the work. This inner strength is compelling because it is earned, not given. Moreover, disciplined individuals inspire others. Their habits and dedication serve as a reminder that greatness isn't about luck, but about commitment. People who witness discipline in action, whether in an athlete training daily, an entrepreneur building a business, or an artist perfecting their craft, often feel motivated to push themselves as well. This unspoken influence is powerful. Unlike external qualities that fade over time, discipline only strengthens. It builds character, resilience, and a sense of purpose that lasts a lifetime. While people may admire charm or beauty in the moment, they deeply respect discipline in the long run. It doesn't demand attention, yet it earns admiration. At its core, discipline is about showing up again and again, even when no one is watching. And while it may not always receive instant praise, it quietly commands the respect of those who recognize its power. The people who move through life with discipline don't need to seek admiration. They earn it effortlessly, in silence, through their actions. In a world where everyone is eager to speak, to share their opinions, and to be heard, listening has become an underrated skill. Many believe that the loudest voice commands the most attention, but in reality, those who truly listen hold the greatest influence. Listening is louder than speaking because it creates connection, builds trust, and allows for deeper understanding. While words can fill space, it is the act of listening that gives them meaning. Most people listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. They wait for their turn to speak, thinking about what they will say next, rather than fully engaging with what is being said. But when someone truly listens, without interruption, without distraction, and without judgment, it creates an entirely different experience. It makes the other person feel valued and heard, which is one of the most powerful ways to build genuine relationships. Think about the people who leave a lasting impact. Are they the ones who dominate conversations, who talk over others, or who always steer discussions back to themselves? Or are they the ones who ask thoughtful questions, who remember small details, and who make you feel like your words matter? The latter group may not speak as much, but their ability to listen speaks volumes about their character. Listening is an act of presence. It requires full attention, not just hearing words, but understanding emotions, tone, and intent. When someone listens deeply, they pick up on what is not being said, the hesitation in someone's voice, the excitement behind their words, the hidden concerns they might not openly express. This level of attentiveness creates stronger connections because it shows genuine interest and care. One of the reasons listening is so powerful is that it makes people feel safe. In a world where so many are waiting to be heard, finding someone who truly listens is rare. It creates an environment where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts, ideas, and vulnerabilities. And when someone feels safe enough to open up, trust is built. Trust, in turn, strengthens bonds. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or even casual interactions. Listening also reflects confidence. Many assume that speaking more makes them appear more knowledgeable or important. But true confidence lies in the ability to remain silent and absorb information. Those who are comfortable with silence, who do not feel the need to fill every pause with words, display a quiet strength. They are secure in themselves and do not seek validation through constant talking. Moreover, listening allows for better decision-making. Those who listen more than they speak gather more perspectives, understand situations more clearly, and make more informed choices. Leaders who prioritize listening earn the respect of their teams because they show that they value input rather than simply imposing their own views. Great leaders, great negotiators, and great thinkers all share this skill, the ability to listen first and speak with purpose. Listening also fosters learning. When you speak, you are only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, you open yourself to new knowledge, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. People who actively listen tend to grow faster, both intellectually and emotionally, because they continuously absorb insights from others. Ultimately, listening is a form of respect. It shows that you value others, that their thoughts and feelings matter. While speaking may grab attention in the short term, listening creates a deeper, more lasting impact. The loudest voices may dominate a conversation, but the best listeners leave the strongest impression. In a world full of noise, those who listen stand out. Not because they demand attention, but because they earn it.